We might need Gabe's mic up a little bit.
Okay. We are from Oklahoma, so we have nothing to be proud of here. Yeah.
No one's
a
proud
neighboring
of
state. Yeah.
Welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks. We're with a group of 1 million people in this room. We almost had more people in this room today, and I think that was just going to get bananas. But we are a podcast about obscure, overlooked, and sometimes forgotten about films. And today we are back with some regulars and some first-timers. As always, I'm Paul. Next to me is Mike. Next to me is Lamar.
Hello.
And a screen in front of us is our friend Jeremy. And then newcomers, Cheng and Gabe. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up, guys? This is a big room.
Yeah, we almost had a couple other people. That's insane. And Jeremy is coming to us remotely, so we could always angle the computer or do whatever. So he feels like there are other people in this room outside of me and Mike. Always feel he's just looking at me and Mike.
I know there are other people. I don't need to see them. I know they're there.
Before we get into the epic masterpiece, because I believe that's the only word we could use to describe 1988's Action Jackson, starring Carl Weathers, and back again in our scope is Vanity. Second time around that we're going to have a Vanity movie, and probably a third one on the near horizon. So, cool. But Jeremy, we got to talk business. You didn't like Manborg. You're breaking my heart.
No, I did not like Manborg.
Wow.
I mean, I couldn't do it. It looked like they had made that movie by like some guy had found the old software that they used to make the Mortal Kombat video games. They were like, oh, we can make a movie out of this.
Yeah, that's not really too far off from how that movie was made.
Is that really the story? Just the software?
No, I think this guy had some software, and I think the trivia was the director basically made this in his garage for $1,000 budget.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell it wasn't. There wasn't a lot of money involved, but $1,000 went a long way with that film.
And you didn't like the humor of Manborg? There is no heaven. There is no heaven, Jeremy.
I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't do it. And I've watched it twice.
Oh, wow.
Because I watched it and then I listened to the podcast and then I'm like, do I need to watch this again?
Yes.
I watched it again. I'm like, yep, I don't.
I think third time's going to be a charm. Well, I'll definitely lead you more to Astron 6 movies. It definitely won't be the last one we do.
Well, so I watched a preview of the one of them where the little kids capture a demon of some nature. I can't remember the name of it though.
Oh, Psycho Gorman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a preview of that, and it actually looked pretty funny. So I don't know.
I'm always willing to do Psycho Gorman. Also, I don't know if you can't see Gabe's face at all, but our friend Gabe, when he does, end up dying on the floor, I do feel I'm going to be the one to be like, there is no heaven. Your last words to you that you're going to hear on this earth are, there is no heaven.
I'm dying, then?
No, just in this hypothetical.
Did no one tell you?
Yeah, I didn't sign up for that.
No, it's just a random hypothetical that you will, when you are inevitably dying.
Cheng will
there was a memo.
She'll be there. And I'm going to be like, Gabe, there's no heaven, and she's going to wink at you and nod. That's it, buddy. Take it easy. So, when we had the 50th episode, what was said most was a lot of 80s action or more action-oriented films on the radar, and I believe that is what we're going to have upcoming. Maybe, not every episode, but we have some ideas, and we kind of scratched out it as a draft. But yeah, today we're going to cover Carl Weathers, Vanity as noted, Craig T. Nelson. Craig T. coming from nowhere. You know Craig T., the coach. Super bizarre film. Action Jackson. Holy God. I don't even know how to start this.
I can start it off
by
just I gotta admit something. Mm-hmm. I'm a Coach fan.
Okay.
And I watched
nice.
a lot of episodes of Coach. I'm a Craig T. Nelson fan. Just from Coach. I don't know any of his other works.
For you? Or?
No.
Okay.
He's really bizarre in this movie.
Also,
we're going to get into it, but it's just odd seeing Craig T. Nelson as a main villain.
Also, real quick, does anyone know what this movie was about?
Well, that's the trivia. That no one knows what this movie was about.
A little bit. I was trying to piece together. What you mean plot wise? Just like I pieced together a large portion of it. I think I can get
sure, but like if you go through like the IMDb trivia, like a lot of holdups on this film where no one knew what the hell was going on, and they had to have like people explain it to them. And so my wife and I watched this, and we're both like, yeah, like the major concepts I get, but like this movie is so needlessly complex in part of the plot lines, and I don't mean that as a compliment. Like
it's like not edited very well.
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah.
I feel a lot of the exposition that explains what's happening in this movie is shoehorned in randomly.
Oh my god, yeah.
So it's when you're trying to piece together what the plot is, it's really convoluted in the end, and that's kind of how I pieced it together. So
yeah, this movie was trying to do weird stuff. You want this kind of movie, you need to be ultra formulaic. It should be rogue cop doing rogue cop shitty shit. Problem with rogue cop. Rogue cop realizes someone who the society has deemed good is actually doing bad stuff, but rogue cop has a bad reputation. Instead, it was like weird side drug deals. My son doesn't have an arm, which is amazing, which is going to get to my favorite quote, which I've always wanted to see this film from. Yeah, like what the hell? Vanity, needless, Sharon Stone back and forth. I don't know. But when Carl Weathers is being Carl Weathers, it's amazing.
Carl Weathers, he came up, apparently, according to IMDb, he came up with this movie while they were making Predator, which was released a year previous to this. And there are 4 people from Predator that are in this movie.
And there are Predator posters when they're on the street.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that.
I missed that.
Yeah, somewhere in my notes, I'll note, I want to say like Sharon Stone or someone's like runs to the street and they run past like 17 Predator posters, like now playing at the multiplex or whatever.
That's cool. I didn't notice that. I knew there was some kind of Predator tie-in because of the cast that you mentioned, Jeremy. Like, there's a lot of people roaming around that I've seen in not only Predator, but another Schwarzenegger movie that I'll mention later.
Yeah, the going back to Jeremy, we did Surf Ninjas last week, and I meant to mention going who's like associated with these films. Sometimes that's the most fun part, and I forgot to say in Surf Ninjas that was the screenwriter of Real Genius with Val Kilmer. I was like, oh my god,
okay,
wow. I was like, that's insane. Like that's super notable, and he had other things behind him too. So yeah, watching Action Jackson and having like a crew from Predator definitely piqued my interest.
And I think Sonny Leone, who's like the Native American guy that always plays like a complete nut job in any movie that he's in, like he must have it in a contract that you have to wield like just ungodly knives because he always seems to have like giant knives that he's wielding in his movies.
So I saw a millisecond of that guy, like his first appearance in the movie, and immediately I looked at my wife. I'm like, is that the guy from Big Trouble in Little China? I was like, regardless of the 50 other films, I was like, and I told my wife, I was like, he always has 2 knives. I think that's the guy. And when you look at him, he looks like the icon from Who Hot.
I think that's in his contract. He always has to.
Are you aware of this restaurant, Jeremy?
I've heard of Who Hot, yes.
Yeah, just type in HU Hot, and it looks like just a man frowning. Who wants you to come in for his Mongolian food? I want to, but he seems like he's judging me, and he might have 2 knives to cut me up with.
Oh, you're talking about Endo from Lethal Weapon. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah.
Who Hot?
Who Hot, yeah. I love Endo.
So, Cheng and Gabe,
Yes.
on a scale of 9 to 10, how much did you love Action Jackson?
Wait, what's the scale?
9 to 10.
9 to 10. 9.2.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
You, Cheng?
He loved it.
3.
No, it's 9 to 10.
Oh, 9 to 10. 9.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
Would immediately put a smaller
10.
score.
Yeah.
10 for you, Gabe?
9.2.
9, okay. And Mike?
I like this movie a lot. I'd give it a 10.
What?
Yeah.
That's great.
This movie was fun for me.
Yeah,
It is. It's a fun one. It'll be a fun one to talk about.
it's mindless fun.
Yeah, I'm going to go in with the quick IMDb summary. Vengeance drives a tough Detroit cop to stay on the trail of a power-hungry auto magnate who is systematically eliminating his competition. I really feel I enticed my wife, who is from Detroit, into this movie. And there's all these awesome, like for reals, I love city shots. When we talked about Vice Versa, Jeremy was on it. I love the exterior of, Chicago, and they zoom in. And this does have a bunch of opening Detroit sequences. And immediately the first trivia my wife read was, the opening sequences of Detroit are the only scenes filmed in Detroit, and everything else is filmed in California. But as they're showing things, she's like, I know that theater, I know that street, and she's making comments, and that quickly ends.
So they just got city scene shots from Detroit, and then immediately just shot from LA lot or something like that, correct. Right?
Yeah, second unit photography spent like 3 hours in Detroit, and then it was all California from there.
I thought I saw some palm trees in the back.
Yeah. It was probably too dangerous to shoot it in Detroit.
Probably.
Even with Carl there.
On the plus side, I'm glad we have another Detroit cop representative. I can put Action Jackson up there on my list of my other favorite two Detroit police officers, Mr. Axel Foley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, note, I didn't know this. Vanity was one of the writers of Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she is credited as one of the writers. Yeah. I was like, okay. Did not know that.
All right.
Her trivia is, later in life, she renounced Hollywood and was like, I'm done with all of this, and just quit and like did other stuff.
Yeah, when I was looking her up, I saw that she just disappeared maybe 2 or 3 movies after this, and I don't know. She looks great, this movie, I'll tell you that. My goodness.
Yeah.
I'm
Both
sorry.
her and Sharon Stone, you're like,
oh my God. Yeah. This is the 80s before you want it.
Yeah.
This is the second movie we're watching with Sharon Stone. The other movie was the Alan Quartermain movie.
Yep.
And the more I'm seeing young Sharon Stone, I am truly feeling she got like a raw deal as an actor. I just feel she had I'm not saying like Basic Instinct or anything. I know that was like the pinnacle of her career, and she became like this huge sex symbol because of this. But like, I don't know. Like, I really liked her in this film, and I liked her in the Alan Quartermain film, and I just think she's kind of a mix of comedic and fun. She's like I thought she was a great sidekick in Alan Quartermain, even though it wasn't like a great movie. But I thought she did well, and her character here only had a bit part. But I don't know. I just feel like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
She was like in these comedy adventure movies, and then it was like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, now you're in Basic Instinct and Sliver, and now that's all you could be in. Like, she got really typecast, and then, you can't do that forever. Or I would imagine people don't want to do that forever.
That's true.
You need to have her come on, tell her story.
Sharon Stone, you are 100%.
There's room on the couch next to Paul.
Totally. Yeah. Sharon Stone, you are 100% invited to Ravage Group 6.
I'll come back for that.
Our friend Gabe's going to come back. Yeah. If that entices you.
Yeah, I would fly in for that one.
Okay. It seems like we got everyone coming into town.
But only to discuss this movie and nothing else, not her career or anything. She just wants to talk about her Action Jackson bit. And she's barely in this movie. And
that's great.
She's second billing, but like I want to say a total of 5 minutes.
So some of my first notes are on the soundtrack. The soundtrack throughout this movie is bananagrams. Part of it opens up like pizzicato strings, the plucking of a violin, like bink, bonk, bink. That's later. And it becomes super cartoony. It honestly sounds like the Roadrunner is going after, who goes after the Roadrunner? It's like Wile E. Coyote.
Wile E.
You know who did the music for this?
Who?
Herbie Hancock.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
None of that surprises me. Yeah. Was he aware of what the movie was?
No, probably not.
And then, because I know the opening is this cool, like, broken bell chimey sound. And it's, it's like very, like, ambient. I was like, all right. But then later, it's this, like, weird cartoon, like skulking around music. Like, bop, bop, bop. Womp, womp. You're like, what the hell is this? Yeah, super bizarre. As we noted, a lot of opening sequences of Detroit. I do have a note that some rando is drinking a King Cobra beer, and I still have a King Cobra shot glass from when I was a youngster. Me and my brother went to Anheuser-Busch in Missouri for the tour, a brewery tour. I was about 12 years old. Clearly, at the end, they're like, hey, you could have a 7-Up, and they gave me pretzels. But my mom had a real beer, and they're like, you could have a free beer. What do you want? And my brother convinced my mom to get King Cobra malt liquor. And because of that, I got a souvenir shot glass. And
did they give it to her in like a paper bag?
Yeah,
Here you go.
And that is typically the shot glass Lamar uses that I've had ever since I was a kid. That King Cobra malt liquor shot glass.
Wow, Paul, I've known you for decades, and every time I've done shots with you at your place, I've done shots through that shot glass. Yep. I've never known the story behind that, so wow.
Somewhere in this house, I do believe I have a Planet Hollywood Chicago shot glass as well. That's probably like $1 million. Oh, did you all read that Hard Rock Cafe is closing in Denver?
I did.
What?
I did.
I tried to get a shirt online. Apparently, you can't.
Yeah.
And I guess I could go downtown, but I don't care enough.
I can pick you one up if you want.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, if like you're there, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Like people are now selling stuff online, and I was like, I don't care. Like I just wanted like a plain black Hard Rock, like iconic T-shirt, and then it says Denver. I'm a simple.
We can do it. Yeah.
I'm a simple man with simple requests.
So in this opening scene where the guy and his secretary are drinking King Cobra, you know who his secretary is?
No.
It's the mom from Goonies.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
She's the second person from Goonies in this movie, and she was also in Beverly Hills Cop.
Wow.
Wait,
There is a
how do
connection
you know
going
this,
on.
Mike?
I know everything.
The-
Dude. I
The
host
80s connection.
I host one of the preeminent movie podcasts. I know all
Mike
kinds.
is the co-host of a movie podcast.
He does his research.
And I have
with inter-
IMDb open when
Yeah.
I'm watching.
There you
With
go.
internet technology.
I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my notes.
That's pretty cool, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking an executive knows a producer, who knows a director, who knows a crewman, who knows a janitor, and that's how they all know each other.
Well, everyone that was in this movie was in a million other movies that were just like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jeremy noted that the editing of this film is bad. Like it's like let's not dance around it. Like I know Gabe has already been like, "Oh my God, you like this movie?" Mike, I also like this movie.
Hell yeah.
For what it is, clearly, like no one's like this is like an Academy Award-winning film. But for like a cool '80s action flick, I'm totally in. It really is taken down by this like jarring editing that alters the storyline and again makes it a little needlessly complex. And the crappy part about it is, I think if this movie was more successful, there definitely would have been a sequel. And it's Carl Weathers. I would have totally watched it.
Yeah. Well, there are several scenes in this movie that like they end, they go to another scene, and then they come back to that scene, and you're like, why didn't you just show the full scene? Like, there's no reason to mix up these scenes.
That, yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
They had to edit it in that weird cartoon music. Someone's like, we got to put it somewhere. Womp womp. At some point in time, Mike's going to love this. I downloaded a sound app on my phone just because it was free. Like, God, I'm not paying money. But it had so many sounds. And, yeah, some of them are like, when would you ever use this? But I'll load one up. Mike could move along the story.
We're gonna chalk all this up to cocaine use in the 80s.
Yeah, that
I
makes
would-
sense.
Yeah, I would assume that's what people were paid in to be on this.
Here you go.
I mean, Vanity was, I think, actually doing that heroin throughout this movie.
Like, are we still rolling? I guess, but like, this is your complimentary heroin.
You know, Mike, you say that, but there's some scenes where she's clearly method acting, and I think that's the method.
That's the...
Man, I hope you have the sad trombone sound effect
I mean,
on that.
that's there. That's probably what I want to load up. There was just like, there's just like weird phrases after a while. If I could find one.
Oh, there's some weird phrases in this movie. I'm gonna bring it up.
I want to hear like the losing on Price is Right sound.
Classic.
I don't even know.
No, what was that?
I don't
Okay.
know. There's so many. I don't know.
OMG.
That's not fun.
No,
That's not fun at all.
I see, you got your money's worth out of this app.
I told you it was free. I would not have it. Oh, there's some hoorays. Oh, there we go. For all of you Australian listeners.
Crikey.
That only makes me want to do the Crocodile Dundee series now. But only part 3, which I have not seen. And probably will never see.
Oh wow! Unless you review it for it.
Do you know like part 3 that came out like within the last 10 years?
Really?
Like, yes.
Wow.
Is
like-
Paul Hogan still alive?
Paul Hogan is
That
the
was
lead in
my
that film.
question.
No, I know, but is he alive now? Huh?
That was my first
He
question.
was, he was killed by a crocodile.
Yeah.
He must be 80 years old by now.
You age differently when you're
In
from
Australia,
Australia.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Harrison Ford just got done acting in another Indiana Jones movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
true.
Well, like Paul Hogan in Australian years, he's 180. So
Okay.
so he's now more like a bone wraith, just like
Okay.
flying around Australia.
Wow.
I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
Little known secrets.
Does he pop up to tell you when it's jerkin time?
It's Jim. He will always pop up and tell you this.
Okay.
Cheng, what were some of your favorite moments of Action Jackson before we just jump into this?
My favorite moments, I don't know. Some of the lines they just don't really make sense to me. For example, when that Action Jackson first meets, what's that lady's name? Sharon Stone. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna change your mind about my fiancé."
Yeah.
And then they didn't show anything that she did. And then she's like, "I guess I didn't change your mind." I was like, "You didn't do anything."
Good call out.
She ran around. I didn't know if all of you knew this, but if you were a white woman in 1988, if you just ran aimlessly on the streets, people knew. People knew there was danger. Like, why is this woman running around?
We should join her.
Right? I don't know why I have this, but I wrote, Dude Frank grabs gun, dead. Oh, there's a ceiling jump down from the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Some guy comes down from a chain, right?
Well, yeah, some like fat cat guy and the mom from Goonies are working late or whatever.
And wait, and sorry, this is where I took quick notes, so I don't mean to interrupt. But like, there is now a character thread throughout the entirety of the film. It is like a pseudo criminal. It's a comedic moment that this guy keeps running into Action Jackson. Do you guys know what I'm talking
Yes,
about?
I do.
Yeah.
Is he here now?
No.
Okay. He's here in a little bit.
He gets arrested
Yeah.
in the next scene.
Yeah.
He's in the opening credits, but this is like the prelim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so this lady, this guy, they're talking about, somebody died. They're like, yeah, we should just continue on what we're doing. And then, like, the lights go out, like, something weird happens. And, yeah, people drop through the ceiling. The world's loudest assassins drop through the ceiling.
Yeah, I totally forgot about this. I think it's just basically like some law group, and they're like, we're going to put these people behind bars and blah, blah, blah. And these assassins come in and are like, nope. And yeah, it's like this. I don't mind any of the action, but yeah, as Jeremy noted, the loudest assassins, this is also like a needless moment. Like some rando could have walked in with a gun and a silencer and offed both these people.
Yeah.
But instead they're like crashing through ceilings and windows, like throwing furniture. Like any cop in Detroit's just going to be like, holy God. Like, I don't think this was an accident. I'm pretty sure someone came in and just like wrecked the shit out of the shop. Like what the hell? Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have had the same impact.
That's true.
Would it have a deep impact?
Yeah.
Welcome to summer. Take that, everybody.
Yeah. But yeah, well, they're both dead now.
Yeah.
After this man shoots 17 shots out of his pistol without reloading, and then he got blown. I think he got blown out of a window by like a rocket launcher.
Yeah, he caused $50,000 worth of damage with these 17 bullets.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you
Yeah.
hire assassins, it's not about the stealth and the cleanliness of the kill. You're just hiring people who are having a good time. They're like, I'm not even making money off this. They're like, I'm in it for the sport. I'm going to blow up everything and it's going to be a disaster, but I don't really make any money on this. So I get it.
I'll tell you who wasn't having a good time are the people that were trying to enjoy a nice leisurely dinner, and then a flaming corpse fell to the ceiling onto their, their table.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do you say hello? It's a cultural thing. Have you been to Detroit?
That's true. That's
I
probably-
have. I've worked in Detroit several times actually.
Positive experiences?
Not really. I worked with schools in Detroit, and I worked with the worst schools in Detroit,
Oh, man.
and they were in areas that that you don't want to leave your car parked outside of like the fenced-in area.
Yeah, some of those areas Jeremy is talking about, I only know again because my wife is from Detroit, and like sometimes when we've seen like more travel shows, we would watch the ones that we could recognize. And I mean, like, people literally have burned their houses down just to collect insurance money and get out of the area. Like, that is no joke. Or just straight up abandon them. There's a couple social media sites that I follow where photographers go into abandoned areas. And one of the guys I follow has gone to Detroit many times, and it's old churches, police stations, like straight up filing cabinets full of files and supplies. People just walked out. Now it's like overgrowth with, wooded areas and stuff. It's nuts. It's crazy.
Wow. That is nuts. I have this weird obsession. Not really obsession, but I just like to see just dilapidated neighborhoods in cities. I've taken trips to Atlanta. I've been to St. Louis. Just seen just old neighborhoods just run down. I've never been to Detroit, but I can only imagine from the stories I hear, it's probably one of the worst in the United States.
I think Detroit's super awesome. I'm not like definitely talking shit about it. There's just areas, as Jeremy is noting, it's just it's like very unfortunate. But like Detroit has a killer like music scene. It has up and coming food areas. Super cool. Just like again, like any major city, there's just going to be. As noted, just rundown areas, and then there's a lot of crime and problems. It's really unfortunate. But you got Action Jackson, so who the hell cares?
I think a lot of the scenes in Action Jackson kind of encompasses some of the crime in Detroit. There's some scenes later that it just shows just a bunch of crime on his corners and just a bunch of bad stuff going on. I could see Detroit like it being in the 80s, just a place where Action Jackson is needed.
Do you think on the streets Jericho Action Jackson sometimes picks up some leftovers? You think he puts them together at night? Lamar, do you think he's putting together a stew, baby? Because now you got a stew, baby.
To get a stew going, you just got to hit a couple of Detroit street corners.
Jeremy, have you ever watched Arrested Development?
I've seen like episodes, but I haven't like kept up with it. I haven't seen it all the way through.
A very early story arc is David Cross hires Carl Weathers as his acting coach. But every time they go out, Carl Weathers is just like, oh yeah, let's go to this restaurant, and is like taking out Tupperware and just like bringing home food and doing like very off things. It's very bizarre. No acting guidance was really given.
Just how to make stew.
Yeah. And then I'm leading to another bonks area. Real surprise for me, Tom Wilson, i.e. Biff Tannen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. I adore this guy. He is a major character in Freaks and Geeks. He's in clearly Back to the Future. He's in this film. Everything I have ever read about this guy, start to finish, is he's one of the nicest dudes in Hollywood. And as a real shitbag, Biff Tannen, and I thought he was an amazing actor, I've read on several accounts that he said he took that role from him being bullied himself and just turned it around. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. So yeah, I really like this dude. He's got a bit role, but it's kind of fun to see.
I didn't realize it was Biff till 85% of the movie was over, and I saw his face, and I'm like, "Holy shit, that's a Biff from Back to the Future." I even have it in my notes.
Yeah, he's got like a regular haircut, and he seems like a regular person, not thrown back in the 50s. Or as Mike and I have talked about, I feel that dude's acting really comes on in Back to the Future 3 as Mad Dog Tannen. He is so good in that role. Yeah, that guy seems awesome.
I've never really seen an interview with him, but I've seen pictures of him photographed with like fans and just other celebrities. Every single photo I've seen is just him brimming smile, happy to be there. Just I can't picture him being Biff at all. It's just that polar opposite.
Maybe that was the Coke all of you were referencing.
Maybe, just maybe.
That's the frosting on the Frosting Flakes in Hollywood. Take that.
I did take it. Well, we get to see some of the crime that you were referencing, executed by the worst criminal ever.
God damn it!
I don't know what his name is, but he's trying to steal someone's purse very poorly, and he just gets his ass kicked. But he also does get arrested by Biff Tannen and the other guy.
Oh yeah. some weird sting operation. Yeah, some guy's just like pickpocketing people. This comes up later and bites Action Jackson on the ass because he is haphazardly doing things. But yeah, we got a couple routine and regular criminals. We got this guy pickpocketing people on the street. We have this guy who's booked in the beginning that we see who's absolutely terrified of the menace that people recognize as Action Jackson.
Well, the cops are like really playing him up too.
Yeah, they play it up. They play up Action Jackson's legend throughout the car ride and in the precinct.
Yeah, and that's what I'm noting, that some of the music becomes really cartoony, like wah, wah, or like the strings being plucked. But yeah, we're in the police station. This guy's being arrested, and he sees Action Jackson, i.e. Carl Weathers, and is terrified. We do meet, I don't even remember his name. Action Jackson did once have a partner, and that partner becomes kind of integral throughout. I kind of like this guy. I kind of like the rapport these two have. It's one of the only people I feel Action Jackson respects throughout.
Mm-hmm. This guy, I don't even know why they put him in this movie.
Yeah, to give.
Are you talking about the guy in the white suit?
Yeah. To give him a gun at the end of the movie.
Yeah, basically.
Like here you
He's
go.
a horrible actor. Horrible actor.
Well, yeah, I like the rapport, but I agree with that. So the written rapport between the two, solid. The actual acting of the dude is not good. But yes, the partner goes in and then or to talk to the captain, and then Action Jackson goes in, and the captain tells him, "This is bananas." He's like, "I have things to do, and you're gonna run security for this guy who is Craig T. Nelson." And he's like, I have a history with Craig T. Nelson. So the back history, to save us a lot of time in this movie, is Action Jackson, Jericho Action Jackson, was a lieutenant, and he was sent on this case to find, was it Delplane? Is that his name?
Yeah.
So Craig T. Nelson's last name, Delplane, kind of owns this corporation, and his son was doing some dastardly deeds. And something happened, and you guys could fill me in on it somewhere, where they got into a altercation, and Action Jackson ripped off his arm in addition to sending him to prison. And the captain's like, "You ripped off his arm." And this is what got me into this film, because I remember this from the preview, and my brother and I always laughing at it. He's like, "You ripped off his arm." And Carl Weathers very seriously goes, "He had a spare." But
it's true.
But the guy's son you ripped an arm off of, you're now head of security for his charity gathering. So that just seems like that's going to be a win-win.
That's good police. That's Detroit police work right there.
That's really setting some social standards. No problems are going to arise from that.
You got to do a lot to get fired, or apparently he was just demoted from, I think he was a lieutenant before.
Lieutenant.
He was demoted
now
to
he's sergeant.
Sergeant, yeah.
And I only know those ranks because I wrote them down. Like what would the order would be.
Same here, Paul.
Yeah.
Same here.
Sorry for all of you who have gone up those ranks. I'm not saying that disparagingly.
Yeah,
I'm just
definitely.
like, ranks are thrown out in movies all the time, and I have no idea what the order is. Take that, world.
And the whole thing with Carl Weathers and this guy's son is completely throwaway. It has nothing to do with the movie. It's just a way for them to know that Carl Weathers knows the bad guy in the movie. I mean, Carl Weathers could have taken this guy's Big Mac from McDonald's, and that would have been equally as justified because it serves no purpose.
Yeah, well, much like most of this movie doesn't serve any purpose in the movie. But yeah, they needed to establish that these two guys have pre-existing beef.
Yeah, probably that was just that Action Jackson's more of a badass,
and that
too.
he's a total B. Yeah.
It would have been better if he had ripped his arm off and beat him to death with it. You know?
Yes.
Right. Also, regardless, Craig T. Nelson, spoiler, is a huge villain. I think any father in any situation walking in a room and be like, "Oh, that's the dude who ripped off my son's arm." Like, I'm so happy about this. Like, what was the captain? Clearly, they were not. They were not thinking. I was gonna say, what was the captain thinking?
Nothing.
He was not.
Maybe he was requested. Maybe I get the impression that the coach doesn't really like his son very much. So maybe that was a good thing for him.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's true.
And the captain is Bill Duke. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that guy.
Introduced to him.
I do as well.
Yeah.
We also find out here that Action Jackson has a law degree from Harvard.
Yeah.
All right.
Jeremy, do you ever, or have you ever watched The Office?
Yes.
So Toby HR gets into a series of books later, and this is what I was thinking, Mike, when you said that is, he's like, oh yeah, this guy like of this book, the series that I'm reading, he's so relatable. He's just a beefy guy who rides a motorcycle. He feels as comfortable on the streets as he does Air Force One. Also, he's the world's leading Egyptologist. That's this guy. Like, wait, this guy's got a law degree from Harvard, and he was hired on as a Detroit cop. Like, oh my god.
Did you say Egyptologist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, as comfortable on Air Force One as he is on the streets.
I do like that line. That's all.
It's on my CV. So if you ever want to read it.
I mean, he said two things. He said he was a Harvard graduate and a something else.
A high school track star.
Yeah, like one of those is believable.
Well,
Yeah.
we get to meet his track buddy real soon in
That's
this
true.
movie.
And the movie,
Yeah.
everyone's a Harvard grad. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah.
Everyone
That's
went
true.
to Harvard or Stanford. There's nothing else.
In the 80s, that's the only way you could get on the Detroit Police Department.
Right.
They all had Harvard degrees.
Oh my
Law
God.
Degrees, yeah.
Oh my God! To become a file clerk in Detroit at the police department, PhD minimum
Of course.
in probably Egyptology. Like, do you know how many crimes you could crack in Detroit by knowing your Egypt lore,
Yeah.
Egyptian lore? You'd be cracking a case every
Yeah.
lifetime.
Cracking a case, definitely.
Yeah.
Also, I have notes. Lots of butterfly knives in this movie. Really
Ooh,
appreciate
yes.
that.
And the butterfly knives are used as throwing knives,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is fucking ridiculous.
That's why I only seen one scene where that the butterfly knife scene at near the end where it's thrown.
Oh my
no,
God!
yeah.
No, blonde dude is. First of all,
Yeah.
he has multiple because he throws one, and then there's another time later, like literally 5 seconds later, he's got another one, and he takes it out. It's like, damn, that guy's got several butterfly knives.
As a butterfly knife aficionado, I'm really surprised I missed these scenes.
Yeah, we're coming up to another one because after that stupid ceremony for Coach, we cut to a boat where the blonde guy throws butterfly knives around.
Well, let's get to the boat. The one thing I just want to note about the party is, as Cheng noted, Sharon Stone is introduced at the party, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna change your mind on my husband," and like says that later too, like and she doesn't at all.
And I'm digging the dress that she was wearing at this party.
Is that the Sharon Stone you love?
Yeah.
And no, Sharon Stone, get on the podcast.
Gabe is showing me pictures of knives right now.
That's a butterfly.
Yeah, everyone in this room may
all,
or may
yeah.
not own one from some of my travels to Asia. So
nice.
we're very familiar with butterfly knives. Allegedly.
That's a nice
Cheng
looking
hates
butterfly.
it every time I have it with me.
Do you do
Like,
knife tricks?
No. Yeah. At
Like
the
when you're
grocery
driving in
store.
the car?
Yeah. No, at the grocery store.
Yeah,
While
look.
I'm paying, I'm like,
All right.
It's like a fidget spinner.
Nice.
Right.
yeah, for me.
Your bill's gonna be $27.43.
Are you sure? All
Maybe
right.
$23.41. I found some
Yeah.
coupons. Yeah, you
That's
did.
true. You get the military discount, the student discount.
The acquaintance discount.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're on a boat.
Yeah.
We got some boat people.
Yeah, boat guy, blonde guy throws some butterfly knives around.
Were you gonna say butternuts?
Butternuts. Handcuffs a bomb to
Would
somebody.
you like my butternuts?
So this was everyone that's getting killed is leaders of a local auto workers union.
Yeah, what's the problem?
Nothing. That's fine. I think that normally happens anyway.
Yeah.
But that's the plot of this movie, that Craig T. Nelson or Antoine Delapoise or whatever stupid name he has is like he owns a car company that makes only Pontiac Fieros from as far as I can tell.
It's called the Haley.
The Haley, right. They're Pontiac Fieros with like Testarossa louvers on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's literally what they are. They're
Yeah.
Pontiac Fieros,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so this guy who's going against Craig T. Nelson's wishes gets a bomb handcuffed to him. This was my favorite part with the goons, because when they're like riding their little boat away from the boat, the one guy has sunglasses on at night when the explosion happens.
Oh, yes.
And it looks dope as fuck.
Here's what my wife noticed while we're watching it. The guy does come in with his bold move. He like a villain, runs into a room, handcuffs a metal briefcase to a guy, and bolts. But The problem, and what my wife noticed, is the guy opens the briefcase and there's like 7 seconds left. And then the next scene, the guy is like 500 feet away, already on a boat with his friends. Then it explodes.
No,
so
he was real quick.
like Nightcrawler, that guy could teleport to places. So good time.
Well, a little bit later, Action Jackson can basically fly. So,
Oh, well.
you know, maybe that's just a Detroit thing.
That's why they call him Action.
So the next scene, and I really want to talk about this because I felt like I was doing many drugs. When Action Jackson...
Clovis?
What?
With Clovis?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, the limo driver from Die Hard.
Oh, no. Well, that's great. But no, when Action Jackson is in his house, it's pretty inconsequential. He's just like walking around watching TV.
Drinking juice?
There was a woman in that room with him that is never talked about.
Are you serious?
Did anyone catch this?
I did.
Really? No.
No.
Okay. This is going to be bad radio, but I'm going to show Paul first this video clip that I took because I thought I was fucking high.
Is this like 3 Men and a Baby? Where there's...
Look. You're going to see her again. It's a maid standing still in the corner of his room.
Well, I want to see it.
But
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Take. Oh my god! Take a screenshot of that. I'm gonna send that to Jeremy immediately. Send it to me.
Okay.
Where that woman is standing.
Okay.
Oh my god!
you may want to post this to your,
I don't know how to make this.
like an Insta, just a
She's chained to like a radiator.
Funny.
Right there.
Funny you're saying that.
wow.
And then wait a
Funny you're
second.
saying that, Jeremy. I was like, there's like a 3 Men and a Baby. Like, are you aware of that one? There's supposed to be like a ghost kid.
Yeah.
Well, this woman's dressed like a pilgrim. Did you send it over to me, Mike?
No, not yet. This is just a woman standing in the corner of his room. It isn't. I thought it was going to be like an assassin.
Yeah.
Just no.
Ooh, I think those cuts you were mentioning, Jeremy, earlier. I think I think she was edited in and out of this scene.
I
I
know
like
that.
this movie more and more. Now.
Watch-
It's 9.5.
I think this
Yeah.
movie deserved this.
Excuse me, sir. You
Boom. I knew this would pay off all along for free money.
I don't know what that means. Lamar, do you want me to send this to you? Or do you just want me to show it to you?
You can show it to me. Okay. This is gonna be awesome.
This is kind of freaking me out.
Good catch by Mike on that. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, so we got ghost people. I don't know how I feel about ghost people and all this. I feel pretty good, actually. I mean, that makes me feel right.
Well, it's not the greatest editing in the world for this movie, but I'm so glad that some errors made it, and I'm thinking that this is an error.
Is it?
Right there.
Haha, that's good
Did you
stuff.
see her?
I did.
And Jeremy, I send it to you.
Come back. She's still there.
You can see it's coming up.
It is gonna come up.
Oh my goodness.
Who's that?
Yeah. Who the fuck is that?
Now, is that a real person?
Does he have a statue?
I think that might be a statue.
He has a statue of a maid in the corner
yeah,
of his house.
hey, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, people,
That would
Yeah,
be the least
I think it is a
believable
statue.
when it scans back, Jeremy, that's when it gets really weird.
Now, a statue in that room, a room of that caliber too, is not the greatest room where you need a statue.
that's weird.
popped in somewhere. I don't know.
Okay.
Action Jackson is into
That was a
some
good
strange
catch,
action.
Mike. I'm glad you saw that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I just wasted all of our time. But yeah.
No, you did not.
No,
did
so
not.
we'll post that on Instagram for the listeners. Yeah, I thought I was losing my mind when I saw that. I rewound it like 4 times.
Yeah, before he gets into his apartment and apparently has a ghost maid, he has a valet, and that valet is named Clovis. And
Is that Argyle?
yes,
Okay, I didn't notice
Yes.
that.
and then drives off. He's like, "Don't peel out," and he does. And it's weird because Action Jackson hates everyone and only loves his car. And that guy peels out in the car, and he's like, even Action Jackson takes a little chuckle, like that little SOB. He's like a little Action Jackson.
Also, what kind of bougie ass place does he live in where he's got a valet
Yeah, that's kind of weird for
on a cop's salary?
On a Harvard graduate salary, friend.
Now it makes sense.
You get perks. You get perks when you get those kind of degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, that valet came with the Harvard degree that he earned.
That's not for the building. That's his personal valet.
It's my Harvard valet.
Yeah.
As someone with a doctorate, Gabe, you did not get all these perks.
I do not.
You don't have a valet? Jesus.
Yeah, you signed the wrong contract,
It's
friend.
true. Well, mine is in economics, not in law. Also, it's not Harvard, so
What if you became a Detroit police officer? How do you think this
Then
would
it'd be on. It'd be definitely on. Then.
We're going to give you an iPad Generation 2.
That's the missing ingredient, being a Detroit police officer.
It's true. I've considered it, so.
Well, jumping ahead, we quickly get to Tony's place, where former, or current, I should say, police officer Tony is freaking out. Freaking out hardcore.
Is this Jake from Goonies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Another Goonies member. This is I didn't catch the other the mom, but I clearly caught this guy from Goonies. He's freaking. He's not having a good day.
You called it
Robert Davi.
freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gabe, how many insects do you think he magically thought were on his body at this point in time?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
I can't count.
Can you scratch away the guilt?
No.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say.
What is he freaking out about?
People are after him.
Yeah.
So the law people in the beginning were offed. They're finding that there's a trail of witnesses and people that have talked against Craig T. Nelson and his company. And this guy's like, man, I've arrested people. Like, I'm next. He's not incorrect. And people are freaking out. And this guy is tweaked out of his mind on an array of pills and probably various other things, and has clearly not slept in days, which is noted later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the next scene where they go to Joey's Elite Club?
Oh, he kind of lets it slip.
The nightclub.
Or, Action Jackson kind of pieces it together that Delafane is the guy responsible.
That's right.
Oh,
Based
no.
off this conversation.
Yes, and he does it very tactfully. He goes, I'm going to give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 are right. That's
about that.
That's how I like to talk to people. Little games. Gabe, I'm going to give you a drink, and you're picking number 3. You have 3 choices.
Well, I
And
mean,
this is where we see Danja again. Mike, back to Danja.
yeah, Donja's here.
Who is Vanity? Who is Sydney in this movie?
Yeah, this song that she's singing totally sucks.
Oh, yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And then when the song's over, Coach makes a really bad boner joke, I think.
And he's sitting there like a real weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah. The joke. Yeah, I might have this written down somewhere. It was really, really, really.
Because
really
if you
bad.
don't, I do.
Okay, yeah. What's the joke?
Vanity walks off the stage and says, I thought you were going to give me a standing ovation. And Coach, who was sitting down, says, oh, I did.
Yeah, gross.
And I assume he's talking about his dick being standing.
You don't need to assume.
No.
You know.
Okay, yeah, he was talking about that.
See, that guy's typecast in my head as Coach, so every time he does something like
That's the
this,
thing that
it's
Coach would
weird.
say.
Yeah.
It's true.
Though, yeah, and the one thing we do know is Carl Weathers has a solid backstory. Him and Tony used to run track together. It's not really expanded on, but could have been for a day, could have been for years.
Doesn't matter.
They ran once. I don't know. Yep. Yeah, but we're at that club, and then isn't this where like Craig T. Nelson brings Vanity to a weird room, and
Yeah, they fuck, and then he gives her heroin.
they don't.
Or maybe not. in
Not
that
yet.
order.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is the continuity problem because it jumps back to Tony's place now with the UPS guy.
Oh, is this where it's COD, and he just shoots him?
Yeah.
So Tony's
Yes.
off. Tony's suspicions were correct. Hey,
Has anyone ever ordered anything COD?
yeah.
Is that real?
Not me, but
Okay.
someone.
It's drugs.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Tony thought he was getting more drugs, but
That's true.
to quote Kurt Cobain, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. And that dude's
but-
offed.
He is off, yeah.
Oh, and the correction, it wasn't a UPS, it was an APS.
APS.
Oh yeah, come on, IPs, everybody.
Yeah, they couldn't get anyone to lend their name to this movie.
They tried.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have tried to have like a wrap-in endorsement, like McDonald's Happy Meals, Action Jackson figures. Come and get a Happy Meal.
That's what was missing, the endorsement.
Everyone wants a strung-out Vanity toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like an old like 1920s hypodermic needle in each Happy Meal.
Right.
Kids got to learn somewhere.
Maybe this will be McDonald's.
A hypodermic needle filled with their shake. It's like their free dessert.
The hell was up with that needle anyway? When he's injecting her with the
Like they've had disposable heroin needles for a while now, I feel.
Right.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
one was like glass and very la-di-da, like came in like a case.
Yeah, it came in a case and it had like 4 handles on it.
Right.
It looked like it took like 5 people to operate it.
And as Mike noted, like they had sex. Like not really. Vanity took off her top, did heroin, and passed out.
They had sex after. Well, he did anyway.
Yeah,
There you
so there's a lot of gross questions like in that. So that was extra weird and gross.
Yeah. But the next scene is where we meet Endo, because this is Coach's karate practice time.
Oh yeah, Coach gets some sparring lessons.
Yeah.
And seems like a real ass as a sparring partner.
He's just beating the shit out of this poor guy.
Right, but tricks him twice. Like,
Yeah.
I understand maybe, even if you're a villain, that maybe you don't want to beat the crap out of your sparring partner by tricking him in line. Like, maybe on the battlefield you do this, very Karate Kid, Cobra Kai style. But, like, he's like, give me your hand, and then breaks it. Or, like, twists it.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It seems weird.
Well, also, only a total dick gets a guy to be a sparring partner who's, like, worse at karate than he is. Like, what, is he learning from this guy, or did he just want a guy to beat up?
I think it was insinuated that
That, like, the master or the student has become the master.
Yeah.
I took it as, like, this guy was his teacher.
Yeah.
And now he's, like, overcome the teachings of this martial art.
took it
That's
as
what
he
I
just wanted
thought,
to beat up
too.
somebody.
I think that's what they wanted you to think, but in the end, they wanted you to know that Craig T. Nelson was the master.
Well, Gabe already told us he only thinks about him as coach, so he went from football to martial
Well,
artist.
This is
And
just
we
an episode
also-
of Coach.
We also jumped over a lunch scene where Action Jackson shows pictures of the dead body to Delaplane while he's having lunch with his wife and the auto union head.
That's a
and
bold move.
yeah, they have like
yeah.
some banter.
Oh yeah, that's next.
Oh yeah,
The lunch scene where Delaplane is having lunch with the union head. I can't remember what his name is.
Nobody knows.
But Action Jackson burst in and he's gonna land Delaplane. He's got evidence like dead body pictures, and he's gonna expose him right in front of this lunch. But he doesn't know that he's having lunch with the union head, and it's gonna be a bad look.
Yeah, and like as a union head, this guy, like a Detroit police officer, comes in with pictures of a dead body, accusing Delaplane of something, and this guy's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Once we get through these scenes, we get Sharon Stone in a shower, and as Mike would know, my favorite of all solos comes in, a nice steamy shower saxophone solo. And I just wrote sax, no. But Sharon Stone is, drying her hair and overhears that one of the Craig T. Nelson, you think, like hired servant, is really just like a hired thug. He's
A henchman.
Plain as day on the phone, like, yes, sir, he'll never find out. We'll kill him. They'll never know. Like blatantly omitting all these things. And Sharon Stone's like, this is kind of an interesting point. She doesn't think Craig T. Nelson is involved at all. And is like, oh my God, that guy's guilty. Maybe Action Jackson, who I met, was right, but he got it all wrong. It's not my husband who's a dirty piece of shit. It's this guy on the phone.
Yeah, it's this fat henchman.
Jeez.
He's known as Fat Hench on the streets.
Nice nickname.
Yeah. Well, so she's trying to get the fuck out of the house, and Fat Henchman's like, oh, I'll give you a ride. But luckily, who shows up? Action Jackson shows up.
Jericho.
Jericho.
Action Jackson.
And they just drive around for a
Yeah,
while, him and
why
Sharon
not?
Stone. They're walking somewhere, and the UPS or the IPS guy,
APS.
that random henchman is driving a cab trying to knock him over. They leap out of the way.
Oh, during the scene, Sharon did ask the question.
Why did they call you Action?
Yeah, that was the question that was on my mind.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to know, and this scene provided it.
And immediately he just picks her up and throws her out of the way of this cab, and then he says, "I gotta catch a cab." And he chases this cab
Leaps.
down. He fucking leaps. He is running alongside a cab that is speeding down the road, and he is keeping pace with it and looking in the window like, oh, fuck
side by side.
Yeah.
Like, I got you, motherfucker.
full speed, because you can hear the tires screeching.
And when he jumps on top of the cab, I did take a couple photos. Those are not. That is not going to be one of the icons we use. But at first, I was like, this might be the one. But there were better. There were better later on.
Yeah. So he basically can fly in this scene. And I don't even know what happens, but the cab it launches off of something and explodes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this might have been my favorite AJ line. Sharon Stone says, "How do you do it?" He says, it's the clothes.
He's a professional.
He is, yeah.
Oh, wait. He corners Action Jackson in the car, and he's about to shoot him. And Action Jackson's like, no, you got to fight me like a man.
That's right. That's right.
And the guy's like, all right, I'll do it. And he puts the gun down, and he's about to plow him with the car. And I can't remember it.
Action Jackson jumps over the car like a move from Akira.
Right.
And the car flips and it runs into a building that's clearly out of code because it just destroys this building.
And just remember this move of put down your gun and fight me one-on-one for honor. This does come back later on. And,
yes.
And I feel this is a very Rush Hour move. This is what happens at the end of Rush Hour.
Oh, yeah. I don't like the move at all in movies like this. The fight me like a man scene.
I like the one in Rush Hour. There's a little twist.
That one was fine.
Yeah.
But here, nah. This guy clearly was a hired assassin. Just puts the gun down.
Well, now later on, Sharon Stone is back at home with Delapois. And because she's a fucking moron, she still doesn't think that he is the one doing all this. So she's trying to explain to him. She's like, no, like, you know, I asked him for help because, like, your fat assistant is a bad guy. Doesn't work out well for Sharon Stone.
No. He kills Sharon Stone. Spoiler.
Yeah.
But, her being so naive that he is not involved with this is her undoing.
And she tried to get to him first. There was like some weird gunplay scene where they're hugging, and she's like, "I'm gonna grab your gun that's tucked in."
Yeah, I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, it's also like a really weird dynamic too. I mean, even if she's like, "Okay, cool, maybe you know, Action Jackson was telling the truth and he's trying to help," he still ripped off the arm of the dude son of the dude you're about to marry. Like, there's clearly aggression on each end. You're never gonna mend fences on this. Like, what in the world? But yeah, super weird.
Yeah.
Take that, world.
But in the end, he eventually just ends Sharon Stone, and that's the end of her and seeing her sweet ass.
Yeah. Well, she actually, I wrote the quote down. She triggers the hell out of him. I think he maybe would have kept going with the relationship and the lies because he did like Craig T. Nelson, that is, with Sharon Stone. But Sharon Stone goes, I just hope Sergeant Jackson will understand.
Oh, I agree.
And you could see Craig T. Nelson's like, no.
In fact, in one of the gun scenes, I think he took his gun out and he put it on a counter or something when she's going for it again, and it's not there the second time. And he pulls it out and shoots her. And gives her a weird ass kiss. And I think the bodyguards come in.
And he's still making out with her corpse.
Yeah,
after she's dead
really
on the
ramped
bed.
up the creepiness on him.
Craig T. Nelson's pretty gross in all of this. He's either like drugging people or like making out with corpses. I'm sure this was not on the reel on the way to get him the coach gig.
They're like,
we really
this is at the top of his resume for the coach gig. Like,
we really
Action Jackson.
We really love the energy you brought to the table on Action Jackson. Can you bring that in like a college football situation? Yes, I can. Cool. You'll be on after Major Dad.
Oh, that's true too, probably.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Now we're back at the club with Vanity.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Sydney.
Yeah.
This is the longest fucking song in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Oh, my God. I know. Like, why do we have to listen to a whole song? Really?
Know. And she's singing it directly to Action Jackson.
Yeah.
I just recently watched A Man Named Otto with Tom Hanks. It is on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It is one of the worst soundtracks I have ever heard in my life. The problem with it is more of a dramatic film and with like comedic moments. And they clearly got B-side Celine Dion's to do songs with like words relating to what's happening in the movie. Where if something's said, it's like, you can't go on, but you can forever. And you're like, oh my God, like this is the most awfulness ever. And the reason I'm saying this is I agree with Mike. This song is epically long and terrible.
Mm-hmm. Those are rough.
Yeah.
I think most of the songs are rough. Likely there's only two Trinity songs or Vanity songs. Sydney. Vanity, Sydney, Ash, whatever. There's only 2 of these songs, and they're not full length, so you can sit through them. They're all right.
Yeah. And then Action Jackson gets a little song and goes backstage, and then takes
and we get introduced to Vanity's bodyguard, who is my favorite character of the entire movie.
Yes. Yeah. Can we all agree that Vanity's bodyguard is the best person in this movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Cheng?
Yeah.
Yes. Gabe?
I think so. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's my second favorite line.
This guy has all my favorite lines. This guy is actually undoing Carl Weathers a little bit. I would be maybe a little pissed if I was Carl Weathers. But yeah, I totally agree. This bouncer is infinitely the best part of this movie.
Yeah.
It's a nice little back and forth between the bouncer and Carl Weathers as he's trying to get to Vanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, Action Jackson just full force punches this guy in the face, and he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone's ever seen Carl Weathers is jacked. This dude says straight up he weighs 270 pounds.
Yeah, this is Carl Weathers right after Predator. I mean, he's ripped.
Yeah.
There are
after
many.
the scene, you can see his biceps. And
Oh, well,
he
I
takes
mean,
full
like-
swings at this
Well,
guy.
now, like, throughout the movie, Carl Weathers may or may not have a shirt on. There's, like, just needless scenes where it's like, take off her shirt and chain him to the wall. And it's to show that this dude is jacked as hell. But, yeah, the bouncer takes each hit to the face like a mosquito bite. And Carl Weathers rams him full force through a door.
There's a kind of a comedic back and forth between them. It's like, I'm going to punch you. And the guy's like, he mentioned something about being a passive Muslim or something. Yeah. Carl Weathers like, you're going to just throw me right through that wall, aren't you? And sure enough, he does.
He says, I don't recommend that course of action.
Yeah.
And then we see Sydney super high.
Yeah.
Super high.
Yeah. And Carl Weathers sees her shooting up the heroin, and he's just like, heroin, huh? All right.
No,
Let's continue on.
I think he asked, are you a diabetic?
Oh, yeah. that was him giving her a way out.
Yeah.
Yes. Just say yes.
Well, the next 20 minutes of this movie is basically Carl Weathers being upset that she's a heroin addict and Vanity doing heroin and trying to fuck Carl Weathers.
And the big thing now is the
She is.
Unsuccessfully.
Oh yeah, this is super weird. She's like, we're gonna have sex, and he's like, nah, like 17 times, and she gets more and more pissy each and every time. This is also the twist where Sharon Stone's character is found dead, and they are now blaming Action Jackson for the murder, and he is on the loose, rogue cop. Mm-hmm. Rogue cop doing rogue stuff.
Rogue cop.
Again, shitty Detroit police work. Like, they're nothing. Like, why is Action Jackson being blamed for this woman's death?
They planted
nothing
her body
points to
in
it.
they planted her body in his apartment, which you don't see, but someone mentions in passing.
That is correct. Yeah,
Okay.
It is set.
All
It is
right.
set for like 1 second,
Yeah.
and they go back to Vanity's place to hide out. A bomb explodes, so then they go to this weird hotel. And my first thought: Action Jackson loves his car and parks in the most sketch alley in the world. Doesn't even put the top up. Just doesn't even make an allusion to this, and thinks his car is going to be okay the next day.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I'm going to detective this story. Yeah, it's not.
Well, and that's not at Vanity's place. So she passes out, and right before she passes out on heroin, she's like, "So are we gonna fuck?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, "All right."
All right.
And then they go to the Hotel Hoover, which is where the sketchy park job takes place.
Yeah, I like the innkeeper here.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Oh,
Yeah, that guy doesn't seem to care about anything.
The other boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has some like weird backstory that he was like a very great boxer. Another person that really likes Action Jackson and does have respect for him. Is like, yeah, I need to go upstairs. I have some weird quote. I can't remember what he says, but he needs. She needs to go upstairs, and the term is she's got a sweet tooth, highlighting she's a drug addict, and she's gonna detox, and it's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is. He's got I don't want to say it's him. His voice is iconic. He has you guys, I can't do it.
He is in Weird Science, and he's like,
Oh,
can't do it in the family, Jules.
Damn, once you hear his voice, you'll recognize
I love
it
that
from
guy.
other things. But yeah, he's good in this.
Yeah. So the next morning, this is where Action Jackson walks out to find his car all fucked up. He gets his police ID pickpocketed, which I believe had no impact on the plot at all.
But it's a tie back to that guy in the beginning.
Right.
So the guy
shit.
Action Jackson is so kerfluffled with Sydney that he haphazardly walks out, and this dude gets a real easy shot at him and picks his wallet. And you guys remember what he says when he sees that? He opens his wallet and sees the badge and everything.
Yes, I do. He looks at the badge and he notices, oh shit, he took Action Jackson's ID.
Yeah.
He goes, fuck a duh.
And throws it right to the ground. Doesn't even take the money out, just throws it right to the ground.
Best line in the movie right there for me.
So now Action Jackson goes to some shady bar looking for a guy named Papa Doc.
Yeah.
And
you don't know about
Papa
Papa
Doc.
Doc and his testicles?
I don't know why.
Well-
but I did love this part.
Well, when you look for ancient holy testicles in a pool hall, that's where you find them.
All right.
Well, yeah, so he walks in, he's like, hey, where's Papa Doc? And the first guy's like, I don't know who that is. And he's like, Papa Doc, I know he's here. And he's like, okay, he's back here. And he shows him this cabinet with what is very clearly testicles in a jar.
Well, this makes me want to ask Gabe and Cheng, where do you keep your jarred testicles in your house in
Where do you?
Oklahoma? Like in Oklahoma, what do you do with your jarred testicles? From your enemies, of course. Now, I don't mean like cattle or things you might have, like Rocky Mountain oysters. I mean from the slain enemies that you have collected there.
On the fireplace mantle.
That's nice.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
That's what they are, yeah.
That's what those are, yeah.
Gabe also texted me that he keeps one under a pillow and makes a little wish each night.
Oh, nice.
Little ball wish.
Testicle fairy.
I don't want to make a ball wish. What if it doesn't come true?
Well, neither does Action Jackson, because as he's holding this this jar of testicles, he's like, "What's this? Where's Papa Doc?" And the crazy guy behind him is like, "It's his balls." And then a bunch of other guys come out, and we find out that they say a bunch of things. They're going to throw him a blanket party, but they're clearly going to cut his balls off.
I had a quote: "Take a Tom Slick like you and have a little blanket party."
There you go. Yeah, and
He's being interrogated by
Yeah.
a bunch of
but he's playing it tough. He's not giving him any leeway. And the one guy's like, "Don't diss me. It's hot dog time." And he's not.
You don't want it to be hot.
He's
dog
not
time.
looking forward to it being hot dog time. But this now transitions into the stupidest part of this movie, where Vanity comes in.
Oh God!
And she's like, "Oh, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
He's an idiot." And then he does like this weird Southern Baptist preacher thing where he like fakes him out because they think he's like a mental patient or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Like,
this was fucking stupid.
It is stupid because this movie like all of a sudden became Fletch for
Yeah,
like a moment.
right, yeah.
But like it doesn't work because there was no like pretense to someone doing any of these like bits. But yeah, like it's super, super weird. Yeah, and then all the guys are like, this guy's crazy. Like, why? Because he's like, find the faith in you. And he's just really clapping his hands.
Right.
I mean,
And then
he's
he
jacked as hell. But
Then he beats the shit out of everybody.
see, that's where everyone went wrong.
Yeah.
You don't have a crazy preacher just you don't turn your back on that person.
No.
Yeah.
Who was Papa Doc?
The whole scene was there for an action scene and served no other purpose.
Right. Like, and also Papa Doc reminds me, like, is that a Star Wars character? Like, I don't know. It's just very bizarre.
Or Papa John.
No, it's Papa.
Did we ever? We never got the Papa Doc.
No, he
That
goes.
ended like
no,
that.
yeah, he goes immediately back to the innkeeper, and he's like, "I could have told you about Papa
That's
Doc. They
right.
have his testicles in a drawer." He's like, "Thanks, I just
Great.
saw him
So all of that for nothing.
Yeah.
in the family jewels."
I have it right here. Like the whole scene, no information, goes back to the hotel to the old boxer guy. They're like, "Hey,
We're Sydney.
nothing from there. Thanks a lot, asshole." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you should go see the barber then." And like
The barber knows fucking everything.
everything.
Yeah. Also, Sydney's gone, or is that before or after?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
Yeah,
he goes
she's not with him at the barber
Yeah,
shop.
so he goes back to the hotel and he's like, "Where's Sydney?" He's like, "I don't know." He's like,
She was with you.
No,
5
she's
minutes ago.
gone. He goes to the barber shop. And by the way, the barber shop, I think she might, I don't know if she's some famous singer or whatnot, but
Yeah.
she knows everything. She's like, yeah. He unlays the whole plot out, basically.
Yeah, he's like,
she's like, yeah.
Sorry, I have no money. Like, hey, no
Like,
problem.
how the fuck does this lady know all this stuff?
No problem for you, Action. Anything you ever need. He's like, thanks. So he gets a little haircut and,
Yeah.
gratis. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, then goes back and...
Oh, yeah, back at the hotel. And she's not there.
Yeah, where's Sydney? Well, she didn't come out through the front door. Oh.
She's in room 303.
Yeah, she's in room 303 doing drugs. Like, that guy is super aware of it. So, shout out, Jeremy, to Colorado. 303 is our predominant area code. So
I'm glad you noted that too, Paul.
Boom. That's our Colorado connection in this. 303 is where you get drugs.
That's where you get the smack, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's doing a lot of drugs. She's having a grand old time.
Yeah.
She's getting fixed up by another weirdo in another room. Was this his room or I can't?
This dude goes from 0 to ape shit insane instantaneously, and I love
this.
everything
Yeah.
that happens here.
He burst in and he's literally injecting Vanity with drugs, and he's like, "Oh no, it's on!" And he gets wild eyes, and this is like
out comes the knife.
Yeah,
the fucking, like the 12-inch blade.
I do want to make one note on Vanity. She will do. I'm not like making fun of anyone who has ever had an addiction.
Yeah.
She will do anything for drugs. It is abundantly clear all throughout this movie. I just want to make note of that for how
it's the one real thing. Like a heroin addict will do anything for drugs.
Until we get to the very end of the film and something she says. Like I definitely want to make note of this. Like she does completely ruin the realism with one note at the very end.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Award-winning scripts.
So the whole fight with this guy is great. My favorite is the conclusion of it where Action Jackson throws him out of a window and you see it from street level, but he just gets thrown from one building into a window on the next building. And we don't know what happened to him. Maybe he's dead. I don't know.
Yeah, he's gone.
But he ended up in someone's living room.
Mike, in Detroit, we call that the Detroit Christmas gift.
I see.
Yeah, it's usually done in the month of December, but Action Jackson doesn't play by seasonal rules.
Okay.
I think as this happens, the other cops are moving in on him.
Yeah, we get Biff
the
Tannen,
cops
Tom
spot
Wilson
his car.
and his partner's back.
Yeah.
And they run up there. Because they're looking, again, the pursuit is, he is a
These
murderer.
two cops have a massive patrol area. They're patrolling all of Detroit.
There's only 2 patrol cops in all of Detroit. I think we've met them.
Yeah.
Maybe you only need 2 when you've got a DeLorean that goes through time. You could check everything. Boom.
At least they have police banter among them. That's typical and you can use for drag out time.
Well, as these 2 cops are running up to apprehend Action Jackson, Vanity and him jump out a window, steal the cop car. My question is, are the keys just in the ignition of the car on a Detroit street?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Mm-hmm. And they drive off in that car very quickly.
Yeah. Jeremy, you mentioned the incompetence of the Detroit Police Department in this movie, at least. They try and commandeer a car behind it, and the woman's like, nah. And she just drives off right in front.
Yeah, I totally know that. Yeah, the 2 cops are like, oh my God, they stole our cop car. And then Lamar's totally right. They try to commandeer this other car, and the woman goes, F you, and drives.
She says, the fuck you are, and drives off. And I'm glad you said that, because I say that a lot. And it was nice to hear it on film.
Nice.
Yeah.
The next scene I didn't really understand.
Oh, So Vanity is not willing to testify against Craig T. Nelson. He's like, you've got to get on board. You are now the link. Also, probably alluding to, you could probably clear my name. So his brilliant plan is this drugged up woman who's probably...
Yeah, exactly.
Fluish, sick, etc. He cranks the car to 90 plus miles an hour and says, I'm going to run this into a wall unless you cooperate and start playing ball and testify. That's what happens. And she agrees.
So that's why she lures that guy that we've never seen before to a construction site?
I think she's just agreeing to... She's really strung out. She's hooking for a fix at this point, and then Action Jackson just kind of snaps her back with this little maneuver.
Well, because...
No, so she goes to a bar and then gets...
the Red Devil Bar.
Yeah, Craig T. Nelson, one of his informants or henchmen or whatever, is at the bar. He's setting up some crooked business deal, and she's aware of it. So she's like, oh, I'm a representative of him. Come with me. And he goes, I don't believe it. And she's like, whatever. And he's like, okay, maybe I believe it. So she tricks him. And then they go to a weirdo water facility. What kind of factory is this? Like, I don't.
But also she brings that guy to talk to Action Jackson. But also all of Delapoire's thugs are there. There was a lot happening at that water treatment plant, and I didn't fully understand why.
I think the Action Jackson tried to set him up, but he got set up instead.
So it is a triple setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we see Vanity's bouncer sneaking around still. Like, this guy has been in the background a little bit. I think there might have been one other shadowy note of him.
Yeah.
But this guy is sneaking around, and you don't really know what's going on with this guy.
Yeah, the bouncer's the only person in the movie that has any degree of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say I disagree with you that he should call the cops, but knowing the cops that we're dealing with in this movie, that is correct.
You don't call the Detroit Police Department.
No.
You take care of business on your own.
So I'm in the middle of nowhere at a big rusted out metal factory. I'm chasing some people. We're good. Call us later.
Well, yeah, so Delapoire's got Action Jackson kind of tied up. He explains the plot of the movie to him, tells him he wants him to die, and then leaves.
As one does.
As one
Very
does, yeah.
Austin Powers move.
Right. And then this is when the bodyguard, I believe he said, "Hello, I'm Mr. Ed."
And comes down from a chain.
Right. Yeah. And just like swings in and starts wrecking shop.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ed. You called about a paint job? Did you hear that line?
No, I don't remember calling, but I mean, I'll accept.
No, that's right. It was a car plant because they're trying to flambe Action
it
Jackson
makes sense now,
with a
damn
welding torch and the paint gun. Okay, yeah.
That does make more sense. But it seems like it's in the middle of nowhere.
It is in the middle of nowhere.
And it's clearly in California because there's no area where there's a car plant like this in Detroit.
Yeah, so they tussle. Action Jackson gets out and they start killing the thugs. Action Jackson gets the welding torch that was about to be used on him. And this upset me because he points it at one of the thugs and says, "Chill out," and flamethrowers him.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Like,
also in my notes.
This is like so many things you could say.
Chill out.
Yeah. Like,
I got it too, Paul.
Yeah, chill out. Like you're on fire,
yeah,
baby.
lame. Like,
Or,
oh, looks like you're all hot and bothered. Anything else.
how about I don't know my elements, and then you just blast someone.
Right.
I like the line. It was totally unwarranted. But the guy that he shot with the flamethrower, he was carrying a like a gasoline tank, which caused the whole explosion when Carl put that flamethrower on.
And that was the toughest of all thugs. That was like the longer-haired blonde dude.
Yeah.
That was the guy from the beginning, just like breaking through windows, ninjutsuing his way through everything. That guy was like, again, like needlessly overqualified for the skills that were needed. Like, you basically just needed to be like, go shoot those people. It's like, no. Did you, by shoot people, do you mean break through window and ceiling? I understand what you're saying.
His next killing line was better though, because he shoots
Barbecue?
Yeah.
He said, "How do you like your ribs?" Right before he shoots like a grenade into someone's ribs.
Yeah,
like
in
a
his
dude-
chest cavity.
Yeah.
It's like a dude with a grenade launcher, like running him down, and somehow he finagles the grenade launcher from him and drops that line. I like that.
Yeah.
I also like that Craig D. Nelson, much like a villain, is always just hosting a party. There's like the well-off, like elite.
So before like that action scene where like some of those assassins get killed, Craig T. Nelson lays out the entire plan to Action Jackson and
Dr. Evil
like
style.
and like Dr. Evil style, and he says like, "We're gonna frame you for killing the head of the auto union, and we're gonna do it by putting your shirt on this other black guy, and nobody will question that."
Yeah.
Like, what?
He has the ultimate racist line. He leans in to Carl Weathers and whispers, and he's like, a lot of people at this party wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
To most of my guests,
come on.
you all
Yeah,
look
yeah.
alike anyway.
And I wrote that in my notes. I'm like, why did you have to be a racist villain? Like, come on, man. Like, can't you just be in it for the money?
They snuck that line in kind of in the end. It's like, that's the only line that insinuates that, there's a little racism play. But if you take that line out, it's just a totally normal evil villain.
And now
that was a weird line to add in. I don't know.
It was weird.
Well, once the bouncer is broken free and everyone's dead, or broken Action Jackson free and everyone's dead, we're really at this party where Craig T. Nelson is trying to make announcements and things are going wrong.
Yeah. The guy that's supposed to be Action Jackson is up in a tree with a sniper rifle. Action Jackson somehow got into this party.
And swings off the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Not only him, but his like friends.
He brought
crew is
everyone he knew. They did not have a good door guy at this party, I guess.
I will say Gabe was part of this, and we noted that our friend Reg, if he's ever on it, should be part of this. That there was a moment that me, Mike, Gabe, and our other friend just straight up walked into a party once. That it was near Gabe's house, and we just walked in. We just walked in, and there was a party, and people were like, "Who are you?" And the party continued.
Yeah. It didn't matter who we were.
Yeah, it didn't matter. It was great.
Yeah, so we're basically we're running up onto the end here.
Yeah, this assassin's dead, and now the pandemonium. What's going on? Craig T. Nelson is probably a villain. Everyone realizes everything that we've always known.
Right.
And Action Jackson gets a gun from his partner, like, hey, I shouldn't do this, but what the hell? Here's a gun. Go kill Craig T. Nelson.
Right. And
Craig T. Nelson gets the jump on Vanity, but callback, why don't you do this like a real man? That Craig T. Nelson taunts after, Carl Weathers gets the upper hand. Taunts Carl Weathers, put down your gun. Let's do this one-on-one.
Well,
fight.
we need to discuss how Carl Weathers gets to confront.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Because that's a huge fucking thing, man.
Yeah, sorry. I am jumping the gun into a fight. Mike knows a lot about cars. Maybe you want to tell us how he takes this sweet ride.
Yeah, he hops into, I don't remember, what was the car manufacturer called?
The
Haley, yeah, with the Pontiac Fiero. And he basically just drives it into and through this house. I think up some stairs.
He drives it into the house, yeah. Like, kills some people with the car, then, like, reverses, drives up the stairs, like, around a corner, down a hallway.
Yeah, it's
like, fucking who knew? Who knew a Pontiac, would do that?
It's that rear engine. That's where the performance is at.
And now we're at the fight. And now we're disarmed with guns. And now it's one-on-one.
Well, and this is great, because this is like the reverse Dr. Evil. This is where Vanity is doing the Scott Evil. Like, hey, Action, just fucking shoot him. Yeah. Can you please just shoot this guy?
Yeah.
Shoot him right now. And he's like, no. I got to beat the shit out of him first.
Listen, Sydney. This is just not how it's done.
Here's some heroin. Just pass out and let us do our thing.
Just play it cool for a second.
And so, yeah, Craig T. Nelson is beating the holy hell out of Carl Weathers. Roundhouse kick after roundhouse kick after roundhouse kick. Carl Weathers takes a straight face. Now you really pissed me off.
And the trumpet's kicked it. The trumpet's literally kicked it. And then Carl Weathers just goes on the all offense and just... Yeah, Craig T. Nelson gets his comeuppance. Now you pissed me off. And then Trey turns. Dell pulls the gun because he's a jackass. He didn't want to honor his one-on-one thing.
No.
But Carl Weathers has a gun, too. I don't know where he got it. Where did he get it?
Who knows?
He just had it.
It's Carl Weathers.
From his prison perch.
Yeah, they materialize. It's like Harry Potter. They just,
I think you hear two shots. But I only see Craig T. Nelson go down. But you clearly see that.
Carl Weathers does get shot in the shoulder.
Yeah,
he gets shot in the shoulder.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, because Vanity's like, how did he miss? And he's like, oh, he
didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, he didn't. And then she peels back part of his shirt and he's just bleeding.
Right.
But he's Carl Weathers.
He's fine. He just flexed the bullet out.
And then, the captain breaks in and he's like, good job. I knew you had it in all you.
Yeah, right.
I didn't see when he was shot the first time.
You had the power all along, Action Jackson.
Yeah, you're a lieutenant again.
Yeah, you're a lieutenant again. It's great. And this is my favorite part. Sydney's like, I want a relationship with you. I stopped doing drugs. He's like, really? He's like, yeah, I quit cold turkey. And he's super happy. He's like, that's great.
He's like, fuck yeah, you did.
Yeah, quit cold
Congratulations.
Turkey 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
And that kind of wraps up Action Jackson.
Yeah, that was the shortest ending ever.
Yeah.
It really was, wow.
Yeah, he was not in for a sexual relationship. Now she quit cold turkey. They make out. Credits roll. Boom. Epic. that was the Action Jackson that you needed in your life.
Yeah, I mean, this is a typical 80s action movie right here.
I loved it.
This is a late 80s movie that's trying to emulate a mid or early action 80s movie. And it kind of missed in a lot of aspects, but you get that 80s movie feeling when you watch it.
That's true.
Yes.
That's a quick synopsis on Action Jackson, and you know what? I enjoyed it.
Cheng and Gabe, do you normally like 80s films? Not that it even has to be action-oriented. Do both of you like films from the 80s? Like, would you gravitate towards them?
Cheng never watches anything made probably before the 2000s.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we not even the good ones.
Yeah, we even skipped the 90s?
Yeah.
All right, so Armageddon is definitely one that you need to watch. You'll be changed forever.
Oh, I love it. So.
Okay, I don't even know what to say about that.
There you go.
Boom. Gabe, then you. 80s?
Yeah, I love 80s.
All 80s?
Most of them, yeah.
I like it. Like, I like this movie. There should have been more. This character should have been reprised. It was a total missed opportunity.
Well, it was supposed
They
to
were
be.
going to make a sequel. Yeah.
Was that an actual thing? They were.
Yeah.
Well, what they just know.
I mean, Carl Weathers
Basically.
still
What if
looks
they just
great.
replaced Carl Weathers?
Don't
and just-
replace him. Let's just bring him back. I bet he looks great.
Yeah.
To be fair, it took a while for the action to get started in this movie. It's Action Jackson. I was expecting a lot more fight scenes in the beginning.
Yeah.
I noted, I think the first fight scene is actually an hour into the movie. Before that, there's a car chase scene. There's some shooting scenes, but not a lot of fighting. So the action is in a different style. It's not just shoot 'em up, guns, and one-on-one fight scenes. It's more car chase and saving apparently drugged out drunkies from rich union busters.
The biggest disappointment for me in this film comes from I told all of you guys that I saw parts of this movie, but I never saw it in full. That, again, my brother and I always joked at the trailer, and it was, you ripped off his arm. He had a spare. I thought I was going to see it in the movie. I wish I got to see that. Just an arm being ripped off.
You know,
Very Hot Tub Time Machine. Like, when's he going to cut off his arm? Like, he's got the chainsaw.
Yeah, I hate when I don't see a lot of the stuff in the trailer in the movies. It's just for the trailer only or edited out.
Well, I feel trailers nowadays are like 8 minutes in length, and they're not even disjointed. I mean, I miss 80s trailers where they would not go like A to B to C in the film. It would just be like random scenes.
Oh, yeah.
But now trailers are like, here's straight up a summary of the film. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, like, do I need to go see this?
Right. Like, I know how this movie ends. You just showed me. I guess I just don't know the dialogue involved. Good Lord. So, Gabe, would you watch Action Jackson again?
I might. Yeah.
Cheng's laughing that you wouldn't.
No, I would. I think she disliked it more than I did.
Well, you two are married, and maybe you want to bring some Action Jackson role playing in the bedroom. You could go like dress as Carl Weathers and Vanity, and you could have nightclub scenarios that you replay out.
She's into it. I could see it in her eyes.
Sure, yeah. You could get weird like needle kits and just fill it with like grape juice. Like, keep it all like PG.
We're freebasing grape juice, baby.
I think heroin
Just
is
the way-
healthier than mainlining grape juice.
Like, Cheng, you want things great? I don't feel well. Like, I actually put this in a needle. This is not okay. Awesome. Yeah. And then you could play some Vanity songs and,
Yeah.
Cheng, you could take off Gabe's shirt and then chain him to 2 pillars in a car factory for no reason.
Paul, you're assuming that's already not happening.
Well, then I don't know why I'm not getting the OnlyFans link that you should be posting on Rabbit Troop Sex.
You will.
Well, that leads me to something. If you want to hit us up at any time, write us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com.
Visit our OnlyFans.
Visit our OnlyFans starring Gabe and his Action Jackson sexy cosplay.
Yeah, the OnlyFans site is where you guys will get to see me, actually,
Yeah.
The Zoom recordings of these.
Hit us up on Instagram or Facebook or visit our website proper, rabbittroopsucks.com. Yeah. What's our final thoughts on Action Jackson? before I lead us to our next movie.
Go that side.
This movie was fun and stupid, and I liked it.
Yeah. That's a great description of it. It was fun and stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this movie will be enhanced by having a couple drinks, late night viewing with some friends. Don't take it too seriously. I mean, that's why we went into it. I think that was the call and shout out that all of you guys were like, I want to do more 80s, maybe early 90s action.
Yeah, I'm glad this gem was in there.
Yeah.
I don't know who recommended it. I mean, it was you. I remember we were talking about it a couple episodes ago. Just someone blurted it out. And I'm glad it went down this path because I can't believe I never seen this movie.
We have the action.
And we have the Jackson.
We have the beat. Yeah. We got the beat. Anything else?
Nope.
Wow. Gabe, Cheng, just silence.
No, I liked the movie. Yeah, it was a little bit, abstract for me, but
Yeah.
It had that good '80s feel to it, so
Did it give you good vibrations?
Sure, yeah.
Well, next time, on kind of a slightly sad note, but a total homage, Mike and I will be watching Deep Rising from 1998 as an homage to the recent passing of Treat Williams. So join us for some tentacle monsters. Join us for some chaos. Join us for all the things that we love. Anything else you want to add, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited. I'm going to watch Deep Rising before I listen to the podcast because I've seen that movie and it's been a while since I've seen it. Like I think I've seen it one time.
Yeah.
But then never again, so I should definitely watch that.
You should. I think I can speak for all of us when I say you're in for a real treat.
Oh, man.
Nice. Wow, with that, you can't top that. As always, Rabbit Troop sucks.